Daf Yomi, tractate Bava Batra, page 146b, top of the page. Amrullah, we're in the middle of a story. Okay, we'll start the story, just the English part of it. Basically, Rav Yehuda says that Rav says there was an incident involving one man who was told that his wife, meaning his betrothed, was one whose sense of smell was impaired, and he followed her into a ruin carrying a date with him to check her to see if she could correctly identify the smell. He said to her, "I smell the scent of radish in the Galilee." Now in 146b. Amrullah, she said to him, "Min yahivlan mikotavos diaricho v'yachal nebe nafalala churba umesa. Anu chachamim hoyevul nechzachrei elaboitka mesa and yarsha." She said to him, "Who will give us of the dates of Jericho, that I shall eat them?" Hinting that she smelled the date he had brought with him. The ruin collapsed upon her and she died. The sages said she went into the ruin after her only to check a sense of smell. The sages said since he went into the ruin after her only to check her sense of smell and not for the purpose of consummating their marriage, if she dies, he does not inherit from her, as the marriage was not affected, and a man does not inherit from his betrothed. Okay. Savlonois Muadin Shitish Damesh Bahen Beisavia Bukula Yesif Ravin Sava Kamed Rav Papa Yosef Ravin Saba Kamed de Rav Papa Vyasivik Amar Bein Shemesahi Hadarhu Sivloi Nois Hadari Machal Umishelo Hadar Hadar Behi Hadar Afilo Kisha Diarka Amar Rav Hun the Bari de Rav Yehoshua Ishamil Lahen Dmei Basar Bezol Ad Kam Bezol Ad Tilta. The Mishnah teaches if he sent a few presents for her to use while in her father's house, they're not collected. Ravin, the elder, was sitting before Rav Papa, and he was sitting and saying, Yasiv v'Yasiv. Why does it say it twice? That's interesting. It's redundant. He was sitting before Rav Papa, and he was sitting, and he said, that's unusual. Why is it redundant? Rav Papa v'Yasif whether she died or whether he died or whether he retracted his agreement to the betrothal or divorced her or the presents returned or the betrothed man or his heirs, but food and drink do not return. If she retracted her agreement to the betrothal and requested a divorce, even a bundle of vegetables returned to the betrothed man. Yehoshua said, when the parents are returned, the court replaces for the betrothed woman's family the sum, and they must repay for any meat he gave her, according to a reduced assessment of the value of the meat and not according to the price the betrothed man paid. How much less is the reduced assessment? Up to 1/3 less than he paid. And that's the end of that. Nu Mishneh. Das ist ein Nu Mishneh. Okay, Shchimira. Shikasav kol nechasal acherim. Vishal karka kol shehu. Matnase kayemes. Lishir karka kol shehu. And matnase kayemes. The Mishnah says, with regard to a person on his deathbed who wrote a deed granting all of his property to others, and he reserved for himself any amount of land, his gift stands, even if he subsequently recovers. If he did not reserve for himself any amount of land and he recovered, his gift does not stand, as the gift was conditional upon his death, since it is evident that he did not intend to leave himself without means of support. Okay, that's the Mishnah, and the Gemara says, Montana, the Azlin and Basar, the Gemara wants to know who is a Tana who taught that we follow the principle of asserting a person's intentions even when he did not expressly state them. Adazlian Basar Umdana. You go after the case, I think, the situation. Amar Rav Nachman, Rav Shimon ben Menashe, Tanya, Haresha Halach Bamediyah, Yomish Mamin, Mishmeis Benoi, Yom Advokas of Kol Nekas of Lacher, the Acher Ka Ba'u, Babino, Matnato Matana, Rabbi Shimon ben Menashe Oimer, Ein Matnasoi, Matana Shil Malay Haya. Yodea shibeno kayam lo hayar kotvan. What is a Tana? Who is a Tana who taught that we follow the principle of assessing a person's intentions even when he did not expressly state them? Rav Nachman said this is the opinion of Rabbi Shimon ben Menashe, as he taught in a Braita in Sefton Ksubos 5:9 in a case where one's son went overseas and he heard that his son had died, and then he arose and wrote a document granting all his property to another, and then his son came back. His gift to other people is a valid gift. Rabbi Shimon ben Menashe says his gift is not a valid gift, as he had known that his son was alive. He would not have written a document granting him this property. Okay. Further, Rav Sheshes Amar, Rav Shimon Shazurihi, Titania Bershaina Hayo Amrim Hayotzi Bekolar Ve'amar Kisvu Get Liishti Hare Elu Yichtu V'yitnu V'chazru Lomar Af HaMefaresh Hayotze B'shira Rav Shimon Shazuri Omer Af HaMesukan. Okay. Rav Sheshet said, this is the question of Rabbi Shimon Shazuri as it is taught in a Mishnah. Gets in 65b. Initially, the sages would say, with regard to one who was taken out in a collar, he had to be executed and said, write a bill of divorce for my wife. These people should write and give her the document. Although he did not explicitly say the word give, this is understood to have been his intention to release her from the necessity to perform levirate marriage or chalitza. They then said that this halacha applies even to one who sets sail and one who departs with a caravan to a far-off place. A bill of divorce is given to his wife. Under these circumstances, even if her husband just said right, Rabbi Shimon Shazuri says, even in the case of one who is dangerously ill, who gives that instruction, they write the bill of divorce and give it to his wife. Okay. Fine. Okay, next Rav Nachman. My time lo mokim like Rabbi Shimon Shazuri. Shani Hasim Damar Kisfu. Rabbi Sheshes. My time lo mokim like Rabbi Shimon ben Menashe Dana. The Gemara asks, and what is the reason that Rav Nachman does not interpret the Mishnah as being in accordance with the opinion of Rabbi Shimon Shazuri? The Gemara answers, Rav Nachman holds that it is different there, as he said, write a bill of divorce, thereby partially stating his intention to divorce her, whereas in the case of the Mishnah here, he did not express his intention at all. The Gemara asks, and what is the reason that Rav Sheshet does not interpret the Mishnah as being in accordance with the opinion of Rabbi Shimon ben Menashe? The Gemara answers, an assessment of a person's intentions that is clearly proven difficult, and it's possible that Rabbi Shimon ben Menashe does not apply this principle where the person's intentions are less evident. My time Allah the Tarabanan Hare Shihayan Chayle Umutal Bavita the Amru Lo nechasecha l'mi v'amru lahen. The Gemara answers, who is the Tana who taught that which the sages taught? It's a Sefta Ketubot 4:15. If one was ill and bedridden, and all those present said to him, to whom shall your property be given? And he answered to them, whatever he answered them. Okay? We're done with that.